sinners, and saints. Dust off those horns and halos. It's time for Alan After Dark.
Sinners, saints, bitches, whores, sluts, skanks, butt munchers, pole smokers. How you doing? I hope you're feeling well and sexy and pussy and dicky, wicky, licky, etc. You may hear in my voice that I'm kicking off this fucking year with another fucking illness of some kind. Non-COVID, non-flu, non-pneumonia, but it's something, okay? And I'm bitter as hell about it, but what can you do? Live and learn, or what? I don't know, Jesus. Anyway, I hope you're all doing well and enjoying life if you can during these dark times, but, oh sorry, I'm sipping a hot toddy, and it's not really working. And I can hear some of you perverts out there saying, you just need a hot flesh injection down the throat from Henry Cavill. You know what? It may not cure me, but I'd be all about that. In fact, I'd be up for double and triple doses. Oh hell, just hook him up to me with an IV and I will drain his soul. Dang, I sounded like Glenn Close in Fatal Attraction, didn't I?
I feel you. I taste you.
That's not what I intended. I know my limitations. I'm not going to be some type of roadie stalker who follows Henry Cavill everywhere he goes. Oh, that would be a nice life, though.
Yee-haw!
Isn't it funny how things can be easily misinterpreted? Even just being nice to some guys, they can misinterpret that as an invitation to fuck or something. And I don't know where that line is because we're all unique individuals and each person is different in how they perceive things. And I do tend to worry about that. You know, like I will say one thing and a guy will hear it totally in a different way. Sometimes I'm much more friendlier and mouthy when I'm drinking than I ever would be sober. And that does get me in trouble. And I don't mean for it to. The intention is just to be nice. But sometimes it comes off as horny, I guess. I mean, you know, it's like, I think I'm saying hello, and he's hearing,
oh, fuck, you fucking take it. Oh.
There's nothing worse than looking at a guy through vodka-colored glasses. Off the record for just a second, I'm just curious. Have you ever woken up the next morning after a night of hard partying, and you look at your phone, and you check out your pictures to see what pics you may have taken that you can't really remember, and just double check to see what you may have done that you can't slightly figure out. And sometimes you cross your fingers hoping that you don't see pictures that you think you took. But sometimes I'm just so active and running around talking to everybody that you don't always remember everything you did within a span of 5 hours. Okay. Even I will admit, right there, I am really reaching.
They're blowing smoke up my rear end so bad, I'm sending off smoke signals.
I have seen pictures before, and I've just said to myself, Alan, what the fuck were you doing? And I'll check and I'll receive a couple of messages on social media, and I'm like, oh shit. Oh my God, someone has misread my intentions, unless I was coming off as the biggest perv in the world, which can happen sometimes. I'm just being me, only with a little extra vodka in my system. There was this one night, I was kicking myself because I felt that I may have misled this guy into thinking that I was interested in him when I wasn't interested in him at all sexually. And one of my friends said to me, well, if you hadn't grabbed his crotch, maybe he wouldn't have gotten the wrong impression. Point taken, boys. You're absolutely right. That was a careless moment that I do partially regret because the intention wasn't to make the guy feel anything more than a physical reaction. There was no emotional connection to it. And that's the hard part. As gay men, and men in general, I think we're just used to having the two separate dynamics. There is the physical aspects and then the emotional aspects, and neither the twain shall meet in most cases. How often do you develop true feelings for someone if it just starts as a close encounter of the men's room stall kind? You don't, usually. Now, if you go back for repeat business and you find that there's more chemistry than just physical, maybe something would happen. But the only emotional reaction I usually get, we've talked about this before, is if I've been hooking up with a guy and then I see them hooking up with someone else, I have that hint of jealousy that is totally irrational. I have no right to be jealous. We're just talking about a physical connection with someone for 2 to 10 minutes, depending. Unfortunately for me, when I've attempted the physical aspects of it, it seems like that I've mistakenly attempted it with guys who have an emotional reaction. I guess that means that I can't read guys as well as I thought I could. But can any of us? Don't we all have those moments in our past where we've totally misread someone or they've totally misread us, and you put yourself in a situation that you wish you didn't? I think that's just the way life is sometimes, you know. It fucks with us, we fuck with it, and the consequences are messy. Lots of emotional damage. There was a guy who came into the club with his husband the other night, and he and I had a sexual encounter many years ago. I don't know why I did it, but I did. I gave him a look, a little raise of the eyebrows and a wink. And I wonder if he knew what I meant by that. It's probably really arrogant and self-absorbed of me to think that I would assume that he would remember our one-night stand from 15 years ago, when I might have been one of many at the time that he had. But why did I do that? I think I was just trying to fuck with him. There was no reason for me to do that, other than it brought back a really nice memory of a sexual encounter. I don't want his husband to ever know. I don't think his husband will ever know. And I'm not sure, honestly, that he would even care. We've had this discussion before, haven't we, sinners and saints? Do you worry about who your partner slept with 10 years ago, 5 years ago, if you all weren't together then? I promise you, nobody's an angel. There's nobody that has a perfect past. Not that I'm saying that one-night stands are imperfect or immoral, because you know damn well I believe you should have as many as you want. I guess it's that weighing the two against each other. Could you be upset with your husband or boyfriend if he had slept with your best friend 10 years ago? Would you want to know? And does it matter if you know or not, or if they did or did not? Wow, this is becoming more convoluted by the second. I feel like I'm making a mountain out of a molehill. But it's just my curiosity, once again, asking the questions. Oh, that was an easy way out, wasn't it? I think it's a little ironic that I can actually go back to my past and pinpoint the situation that made me become who I am now, as far as my views on one-night stands and the possibility that I'm a romantic. Let's call him Jack. I met Jack at a club, and I've told the story before, how we met. It was a Friday night. The club was just packed with people, and a lot of times to cool off, you would go outside the front doors. There was this little area that you could kind of hang out and just get some fresh air and just cool off. And a lot of guys would hang out there sometimes. And this night I had been drinking and dancing a whole lot, and I was really sweaty. And I'd seen Jack a couple of times in the club, and I thought he was just sexy as fuck. But he was always with this other guy. And for some reason, I never assumed that they were together. I just assumed that they were friends. Just, I guess, because I never saw them touch each other. They never kissed. There was no hugging or anything. So that was my assumption. A friend of mine came out and was chatting with me as I was cooling off. And we were talking about the hot guys that were out there. And my friend pointed out the guy that was standing next to Jack. And he said, "That's my type." And I point blank said out loud, "He's not my type." And pointing right at Jack, I said, "He is." The friend that was with him didn't take too kindly to me being so brazen in how I said that. Well, anyway, no harm, no foul, at least I thought. I went back in the club and I went back to the dance floor and I was dancing again. About 45 minutes later, I see Jack wading through the crowd on the dance floor, and he comes right to me and he hands me his phone number and he says, "Call me." Well, of course I did, and we go out and we have great sex and we begin seeing each other. Well, long story short, I was convinced that I could make him fall in love with me the way I was falling in love with him. And I failed. He was a guy who wanted as many sexual partners as possible, hundreds, if not thousands, if it was physically possible. You know what I mean? Yeah, he was that big of a slut. But I get it. He was really good at sex. I mean, wow, he was good. I think I was good too, but that's neither here nor there. When we broke up, I was heartbroken. But he seemed like he didn't feel anything. And it really did mess with my ego and my views on everything, really. I was still at that point in my life where I thought you would find somebody, you would be sexually compatible, you would fall in love, and that would be enough. And it wasn't. Your self-esteem will take a hit, period, when something like that happens. And it's hard to recover that sometimes. Ironically, though, the months that passed, even a year later, Jack would still call and we would still hook up. And I got of the mindset that maybe he had it right and I had it wrong. When I realized that he was still coming back for more, that I must be hot and good at something, that maybe I could behave the same way he did. So that's what I did. When a certain dance club opened in town that was the biggest club that I had ever seen, amazing dance floor, and it just had this chemistry about it. There were these unwritten rules and secrets that you could hook up with guys in the men's room, in the stalls, and the owners would not throw you out. In fact, we were encouraged to engage in sexual activity for safety purposes.
I'm sorry, what?
One of the owners told me, he said, "I'd much rather you all be in there behind a locked door than risking your life outside somewhere, getting your throat cut or something like that." It was absolute freedom for me. I went hog wild. I didn't always score, but a lot of times I did. And I had some amazing adventures. And when the word got out that you could hook up in the men's room there and there were no consequences other than orgasms and possibly crabs or something else, it really took off. And the late nights there after midnight were some of the wildest, craziest times of my life. I remember those nights fondly. In fact, I'm getting a boner right now just talking to you guys about it. I do often ask myself, why do I do the things that I do? Am I intentionally trying to hurt people or fuck with their minds? Am I just a scientist conducting experiments for my own justification? That'd be pretty shitty, wouldn't it, if I was that kind of a person? And I don't think that I am, because I spend too much time thinking I'm hurting people. I remember in the show Heartstopper when Nick and Tao are talking about Charlie, and Tao says that Charlie thinks that he's an inconvenience to someone just because he's in their life. And I feel that way about myself sometimes too. I feel like when I don't hear from somebody for a day or two, God, did I say something stupid that they took the wrong way or were offended by? And then the other side of me is like, well, goddamn, if you got that offended over a joke or something, I don't think I need to be around you anymore. But it does kind of cater to my curiosity, doesn't it? Sort of like testing the waters all the time to see how people will react. Like I've been talking about the straight guy the last few weeks. Am I just doing it to see how far it would go? Do I really have any kind of emotional connection or even a physical one that I want to connect with? Or is it just my curiosity wanting to see what would actually happen? It's almost like being a journalist or, like a third person on the outside looking in, like just being an observer. Am I that terrible of a person? I hope not, because that would be much worse than someone who's just driven by a libido that's out of control. I can hear Robbie and Tim laughing their ass off at me. They're just saying, yeah, right, bitch. You're not that deep. You're a slut like the rest of us. In other words, there are no scientific experiments. It's just my horny curiosity getting the best of me. Deep down, I'm really superficial. And you may wonder, what if Jack was to walk back into the bar and strike up a conversation? How would I handle that? I'd probably handle it in the men's room stall. Would I really? The best revenge would be have a conversation, talk a while, see if the chemistry's still there, get him to laughing and things, and then see if he follows me to the men's room and then dump his ass right there. Say something like, whoa, 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 man. Did you think we were going to do something in here? I'm sorry, I must have given you the wrong impression. Oh, God, that would work totally, wouldn't it? That would be like revenge being served cold. I know. Some of you are saying, yeah, right, Alan. Like you're going to really turn that down. You horny beaver, you. Horny beaver. Where did that come from? Jesus, I don't know. But that's kind of the way I behave with Will, the hustler, the really hot hustler who I've known for, fucking 20 years now? I just play along with him because he thinks he's playing me. And if it means a little makeout session and the risk of herpes, I might take that chance. It's like a sense of control over these people who played me in the past, that maybe I have the power now and they don't. Those power elements, the mind games, can be quite erotic, can't they? I mean, it feels like it to me when I start thinking about the ways that you could play the game, if you will, and tease and test the waters to see how much you can get away with, to see if another person is a willing participant. But there, of course, are always lines you can draw. You probably should draw. I find certain people very sexually attractive, but I would never cross a certain line with them. It's weird how I feel that way, but there are certain things that I would absolutely never, ever do. One of them in particular is trying to seduce some of my best friends' husbands or boyfriends away from them, like a person I know in my past tried to do to me. The best thing about that was, in my situation, when he whose lot that shall be the lake that burns with fire, Lot for short, he's so fucking ugly and douchebag-ish that the ex-boyfriend of mine wouldn't give him the time of day. I don't know what he was thinking. Does he really think he's that hot? But once again, that's the male ego, isn't it? We all think we're so hot and that no one can resist us. At least it seems that way.
Yeah, boy.
But I do wonder about a lot of us. Do we have enough lines drawn? If I were to ever have a boyfriend or get married again, they will have to understand that my attraction to Henry Cavill is just what it is. And if they can't accept that, I guess we will have to part ways. Not that I'll ever get to consummate that relationship. And I can't even say relationship. He has no clue that I even exist. So what are we saying here? I guess I could point to my pursuit of straight men, so-called straight men, ones that are married to women. Does that make me a bad person or him a bad person? In my opinion, he's the bad person. I'm not the one cheating. He is, right? But once again, maybe they have an understanding. You never know about these things these days, do you? There are a lot of fluid people. There are a lot of people who swing and hook up and do 3-ways and 4-ways and orgies. Maybe I'm just the old-fashioned one holding on to a past that no longer exists. Then again, maybe I'm just the devil in a very ugly disguise. What a way to kick off 2026, right, Sinners and Saints? I hope you've had as much fun as I've had, which, to be honest, hasn't been a whole lot since I'm sick as a dog. Hopefully, next week I'll be all better and I won't sound like I swallowed 3 frogs. But until then, always remember, take life by the balls and be real. We'll see you soon.
Yeah, boy.